Hi everybody, it's good to talk to you again. I hope this week starts out as a good week for you and you begin to work on your employment documents. Yesterday I uploaded a video that talks about resume writing, and today I would like to spend a little time talking about cover letters and reference sheets. So a cover letter we're going to start out with today is a letter that attaches to your resume, that introduces your resume and persuasively advocates for you to get an interview for that position. So I'm going to talk about really the three core paragraphs that you're going to talk about in your resume or in your cover letter. So your cover letter is written in business format. When it's a business formatted letter, everything is left aligned, meaning that there are no indents of paragraphs. Instead of like indenting with a paragraph, you'll see that it's left aligned and everything lines up on the left side of the screen. So to space paragraphs, you double space. So there's two spaces in between the paragraphs. You're going to see that there is a PowerPoint presentation attached where you found this lecture, and you'll see the format for the cover letter. So I would recommend that you pulling that example up so that you can see what I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. So a cover letter is left aligned. Everything is spaced to the left. And then only spaces separate the paragraphs. There's three primary paragraphs that I'm going to talk about. The attention-getting paragraph, the building resistance paragraph, and the motivating action paragraph. So in the first paragraph, you are going to do a couple of different things to identify why you're writing that letter. So in the first paragraph, you are going to state the name of the position that you are applying for and where you found that job posting. So you could say, hello, my name is Bethany Winkler, and I am applying for the position of blah, blah, blah that I heard about in the Killeen Daily Herald. And then once you state the name of the position and where you found it, one more sentence is all that is needed for the opening paragraph that says that advocates for your interest. You could say, based on my experience, I feel like I am a very qualified candidate for this position. Something like that, that just begins to be persuasive and let the reader know that you're serious and interested in that position. So that's all that happens in the first paragraph. A paragraph is at least 3 sentences, so make sure that you're not shortchanging the paragraph, but it doesn't need to be a half a page long by any means. The second paragraph in the cover letter is where you are going to become very persuasive. You can choose a particular thing to talk about, a particular experience or a particular skill, and you're going to highlight how you've demonstrated that skill or how you've gained that experience, and then talk about how that skill or experience meets the needs of the employer. So while I was at Central Texas College as a professor of speech, I did this, and I did this, and I did it well, and because of that, I think these skills will benefit you as the employer, and this is how. So your whole goal is to build resistance. That's what this paragraph is doing. It's saying that, hey, I have something special to offer you, and this is how that special thing will benefit you. Remember, the whole goal of writing the cover letter is to highlight how you would be a perfect fit for that employer or organization. It's not about how this job would benefit you, but how you would benefit the employer. So in that paragraph, when you're reducing resistance, you're saying, here's my experience and here's how that experience really fits with what you need. So this is probably going to be the longest paragraph in your cover letter. It could be 6, 7, 8 sentences long. I would not go over 8 sentences because you don't want to The longer the paragraph, the least likely you are to have that information read. So bite sizes are more important, but this is an important paragraph, so it could be 8 sentences long easily. And then the last paragraph of the cover letter is designed to motivate action. And this is where you're going to ask the employer for an interview. So based on my experience, I believe I'm a really good candidate for this job. I would appreciate your time to get to know me as a candidate more better. And then once you do that, you're going to provide contact information and times that you are available. Please contact me at either an email address or a telephone number. I am available, and either dates or days of the week or times, so that you're saying, hey, I'm looking for your contact. I am waiting to hear from you. Not just, hey, here's my resume. I really would do a good job. Thanks. But in motivating action, you're really working to tell that person you want an interview. So those are the 3 main paragraphs in a cover letter. So you're going to introduce and say, this is the position I'm looking for, that opening paragraph. The second paragraph, you're going to reduce resistance by saying that you're qualified and that qualification will benefit the employer. And then in the third paragraph, you are going to motivate action by asking for an interview, providing your contact information, and telling the reader when you would be available to be contacted about that job. So those are the 3 basic paragraphs. The rest of the cover letter, it's all about formatting. So I would highly encourage you to look at the example in the PowerPoints that I've posted so that you can see how to align the paragraphs and what to include in terms of spacing and the header and your address and the date and all of that kind of thing. But look for that in the PowerPoint. And the last thing I want to talk about today is your reference sheet. Now, the references are provided if asked or at the point of an interview. And the references are people who can speak highly of you that wouldn't mind being contacted by a potential employer. So when you're choosing your references, you are going to do the 2-1 method. 2 professional references to 1 personal reference. So you could do 2 and 1, or you could do 3 professional and 2 personal. I don't think you need more than that unless it's specified. So for your professional references, you need to ask people who can speak of you professionally, that you've worked with, that knows you in a professional capacity, and who can speak well of you. When you're listing them on your reference page, you need to include their name. You need to include their position and where they work or worked when they knew you. Also, you need to include contact information so that they can get in contact with that person. At least at a bare minimum, an email address and a telephone number. You can also provide a address as well. So you're going to do that for each of your professional references. For your personal reference, you're going to choose someone who is not related to you. This is not a family member. This is someone else who knows you on in a personal way, a family member, a long-time friend of the family, or a friend who knows you. These people need to also be able to speak to different parts of who you are, like your character and your altruism or your interest in others, or things that are important to you that are outside of the work environment. When you write in your reference page, you need to include, for a personal reference, the person's name, the length of the relationship, and how you know that person, like longtime friend of the family, and then also contact information, including telephone number and email address. And again, if you provide the address, that's okay. Most of the time I'm being contacted these days for a reference, it's all done via email. So make sure that you're providing an email address. So on the reference page, you're going to format it into little chunks. Here's professional number 1 and label them professional references 1, 2. Personal reference 1. And then at the top, you're going to include the header that you included on your resume. Make sure your name and contact information is on that reference page so that if for some reason the resume and the references were going to get separated at some point, your name is also on those references. But we do not provide the references until either requested or when we are asked for an interview. Protect those references. Think of them as important people in your life that you're not just going to spread their contact information everywhere. Instead, you're going to provide that when it's important for the employer to have that information. You'll also see examples of references and what they should look like and what it should include on the PowerPoint. So that's a little bit more about cover letters and reference sheets. This week, you're going to be working to create all 3 documents. So start early. Give yourself enough time. Even though we don't see each other in class, set aside that time at the bare minimum to focus on this class so that you can continue to progress and stuff doesn't build up and waiting till the last minute. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message on Blackboard. I'm always here and I will respond promptly. I miss y'all. Hope you're doing well. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you again soon when we talk about interviewing skills next week. Take care.